Welcome into Rover Sports. Hope everybody is having a good Monday. And I just wanted to say that I told you so. On the instance of Odell Beckham Jr., the trade bait is now out and about. We have this guy, Pat Leonard, I believe, from the New York Daily News, that is out here, that is out and about. And really, what Pat Leonard is saying is that the New York Giants are now, basically that there's been some teams that have been calling Dave Gettleman that have been interested in Odell Beckham Jr.'s services. I started the Odell Beckham, trade discussion even before his video came out from a couple of years ago with the stripper and that kind of mysterious substance that looked like cocaine and looked like a blunt of marijuana. So when I look at Odell Beckham, I mean, this is a very, intriguing story that obviously that I care about, that a ton of people on this channel care about. And I think that the best landing spot for both the for really the New York Giants to send Odell Beckham is I'm happy that Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham's best friend, is in Cleveland because, in Cleveland you have an offense of David Njoku. You have Josh Gordon, who's a Baylor guy, a Texas guy. You then have, Jarvis, who was teammates with Odell at Louisiana State. And then you have, Odell Beckham, so he'd be going to Cleveland. You then have Tyrod Taylor, who's played in the NFL, who's a veteran. And then you'd have Sam Darnold at quarterback, a guy who's younger than Eli Manning, and a guy that Odell Beckham can grow with and can play with for a long time. The other option for Odell Beckham is the Los Angeles Rams, and this is a team that is stockpiling a lot of talent. Now, L.A. just let go of Sammy Watkins, and Watkins was a guy that at one point complained about his touches. Defensively, they have Ndamukong Suh, they have Aaron Donald, LaMarcus Joyner, Talib Peters, and Brockers and Westbrooks. They just have so many players that they're going to have to pay. And then Todd Gurley, Jared Goff. And then you have Cooper Kupp that's eventually going to come under contract, Gerald Everett. I mean, there's so many guys that the Rams are going to have to pay in due time. I just don't see how they're going to ink Beckham to a long-term deal with Les Snead. And maintain a really competitive roster. Now, maybe with Talib and Ndamukong Suh, these are just going to be short-term deals, especially in Talib's case. I think Talib's been playing for a while. I believe he might even be in his 30s, so he might only have 2 to 3 years left of elite-level play. But really, when I look at this Odell Beckham Jr. situation, the best place for the New York Giants to send Odell Beckham is the Cleveland Browns, because the Browns have the number 4 pick in this year's NFL draft. And the Giants have 2 very pressing needs. One is at running back, where they have Wayne Gallman, Paul Perkins, Jonathan Stewart, who's really old. So Saquon's a guy that Giants fans really like. And now with Jason Pierre-Paul gone, and you're in a 3-4 system with James Betcher, you do have some talent in the interior line, meaning at the nose tackle position. Dalvin Tomlinson is a second-round pick, a really smart kid that was able to play well for Alabama, and a kid that is going to take a big leap just like B.J. Goodson took last year. You then have Snacks Harrison that you're paying a ton of money, and a guy that since his days for the Jets, a guy that can stop the run at a pretty good level. You have Olivier Vernon, who's a little bit on the older side, but I still think has some pop and sizzle to him. And then you could then get Bradley Chubb. So if you have Chubb, Olivier Vernon, and Dalvin and Harrison, you're going to have a really good team. In terms of your defensive line depth is going to be really, really good. Then you look at your linebackers. You have Ogletree, Goodson, and let's see, you have Ogletree, Goodson, and I believe that those 2 guys might be the few guys that are starting. I don't know about Casillas. I don't know if Casillas is going to be back or not. but the Giants can obviously continue to add some outside linebackers somewhere in this draft. However, there's some decent guys that they can look at the top of the second round then. The Boise State kid, Will Hernandez. So basically what I'm saying to you guys is that if I'm a Giants fan, which I actually am a Giants fan, I think the move is simple, that you try to deal Odell for this 4th pick, because then the Jets are going to take Josh Rosen. The Browns are taking Sam Darnold. You then get Saquon and Bradley Chubb in one swoop. That would be incredible. Now, would the Browns give up the number 4 pick in the draft? I mean, they just selected Myles Garrett. Minkah Fitzpatrick is a guy at safety and corner. You just drafted Peppers last year. Do you really think Minkah is better than Odell Beckham Jr.? Are you going to take a running back and put him over a wide receiver when you have Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson and you have decent running back depth in your backfield at this point? I think Cleveland should take a Hall of Fame player, one of the best wide receivers that we have in our game, in Odell Beckham. It fits their team well. They're an up-and-coming team that needs star power and talent. Odell knows LeBron James. He knows Drake. Johnny Manziel is a friend of Odell Beckham, and Jarvis Landry. They know the lay of the land in Cleveland, and I think that the best situation for Odell Beckham, I think it's Cleveland. Cleveland can give him a ton of money. Sam Darnold's going to be the quarterback there. Really talented, athletic kid that is a lot more athletic than Eli Manning is at this age. And really a lot. You talk to any scout, I don't think this is the case, but you're going to be working with Sam Darnold for the next couple of years. And Davis Webb, most people would take Darnold over Davis Webb. So looking at Odell Beckham and his production value, Cleveland's a team that's an up-and-coming team in a division that's just going to get weaker and weaker as Big Ben just continues to get older. You look at the Steelers, they're a good team, but it's not like the Bengals and the Ravens of late have been invincible teams. They kind of have aging rosters, and the Ravens with Ozzie Newsome are just kind of, picking things into place and just kind of putting things, they're just kind of really randomly putting together a roster out in Baltimore. And I think Ozzie's old. He might have even said that he's going to be stopping general manager duties. So looking at Odell Beckham, Cleveland would be perfect for the Giants to send him to. I mean, the 23rd pick in this year's draft, if the Giants want to trade him for Will Hernandez or Harold Landry if they like him, as a Giants fan, I've said that trading Odell Beckham Jr. is a good priority to have, because Odell, he's been here a while. He creates kind of a circus atmosphere. You don't know where he's going to be. He's out, partying with celebrities. His priorities aren't completely about football at this young of an age. And he's a good player, but really the national media, the Giants are already distracting enough, but the national media for Eli Manning, they just pinpoint, Eli, and they just connect it to Odell Beckham and his stats. And people just love to gravitate towards stars, but this is a team game. And I've said many times on this podcast that at this point with this head coach and general manager, Gettleman and Shermer, that it's time to cut out the distractions, and it's just time to get Odell. It's time to move Odell. And then you have Saquon and Bradley Chubb. I think that would be a beautiful deal if the Giants can make it. I'd look to make it. If not, you possibly have the Rams that would take Odell for a year or two, because they're in a win-now mode right now. So that's how I feel about it. Again, it's a continuing developing story here. I was really one of the first people to pretty much say that Odell's on the trading block, and now it's getting some nice push from the mainstream media, and for that, I appreciate it. That's really good news if you're a Giants fan, that this is getting pushed. If you sign Beckham for $17-18 million, you will drown your cap. You'll have to pay so much money to a wide receiver when really receivers don't really win in this NFL. It's quarterback play, it's defense, and it's defensive lines. That's who really wins at this level. So that's just my take on it. and leave a comment below. Thank you guys for following the channel, and got some more vids that are going to pop up right around now.